Sean Wally here for Sean Wally Math. Today, we are going to be discussing the slopes of parallel and perpendicular lines. So let's do this. Okay, so parallel and perpendicular lines. You're not going to be telling me their slopes unless you can tell me what it means for lines to be parallel or perpendicular. Okay, so let's discuss that. Parallel lines are essentially lines that, if they go on forever, they never actually touch. So I'm trying to draw these lines the best I can to be parallel. We'll indicate that these lines go on forever by putting some arrows at the end. And then I'll indicate that these two lines are parallel by putting these arrows on the line. That indicates that two lines are parallel. Once I've told you that two lines are parallel, if I tell you that the slope of one of the lines is 2/3, then the slope of the other line is also 2/3. And that's the rule. The slopes of parallel lines are equal to one another. Pretty basic, okay? Let's take another example. I mean, this is probably the easiest lesson I think I've ever taught. So you have one line, you have, say, another line, and I tell you, I use the mathematical indication that these are parallel. And I tell you that the slope of this line, notice this line is now a negative slope. Let's say that's -1/2. Well, what's the slope of line 2 there? Slope of line 2 would be, you guessed it, -1/2. They are the same. Okay, so one more time, slopes of parallel lines are the same. What about perpendicular lines? What are perpendicular lines? Lines that are perpendicular are essentially just two lines that meet or intersect at a right angle. Again, I'm trying to draw this the best I can, but to indicate so that there's no confusion that these are perpendicular, I'll put a right angle symbol right here. Therefore, those two lines are perpendicular. So what is the relationship between the slopes of two perpendicular lines? We could say that maybe this guy's, about the slope of this line is maybe 3/2. So what's the slope of M2, the other line, if they are perpendicular? Well, when you take the slope of a line that's perpendicular, what you have is the negative reciprocal. And that's terminology typically teachers expect their students to know. Oh, what's the negative reciprocal of this? But it doesn't, unless you know the procedure, it's not very helpful. Okay, so what is the procedure? The procedure is basically change the sign of the slope. So change the sign and flip the value. Now that's not very mathematical. Flip the value. That actually what it means to reciprocate is to flip it. But I just find that students remember it this way. Okay, so you change the sign and flip it. Okay, so we started off with a slope of 3/2. The perpendicular slope, we've got to change the sign. So this is positive, negative, and then flip it. You've got 2/3. Okay, so these are two lines and they have perpendicular slopes. Why? They're negative reciprocals of one another. Okay, so let's take up some examples that we can do quickly. Okay, so I'll give you a slope and I'll say that it is -3. And then the slope that is parallel would be equal to, you tell me. Hopefully you said -3. And the slope that'll be perpendicular will be, okay, now this is where we flip it and change the sign. Okay, so we change the sign, it's negative, so we go positive. And then if we flip that, that's going to be 1/3. Easy, okay? Let's do another one. Let's say I start with m is equal to 3/4. Okay, the slope that is parallel would be 3/4. The slope that would be perpendicular would be, change the sign, it's positive now, negative, flip it, 4/3. There it is. I can do a couple more examples for you if you like. You start with a slope, m is equal to 5/6. The slope that would be parallel would be equal to, 5/6. The slope that is perpendicular would be equal to, it's positive now, negative 6/5. And that's it. That's all there is to it. You know, parallel lines, same slope. Perpendicular lines, the negative reciprocal. I'm going to do another video right away about how you can find the equation of the line given this information. I'll do one example just to illustrate for you, okay? And we'll call it a day, okay? So the question would be, find the equation of the line that is perpendicular to the line 3x minus 2y equals 10 and contains, let's say, -2, +5. Okay, so I mean, from now on in this unit, if you're in the linear functions unit, if it says perpendicular or parallel, the first thing that pops in your mind is slope. I need the slope, or this question has something to do with the slope. So if I said that the line I'm looking for is perpendicular to this line, then I want to know the slope of this line. To find the slope of this line, and I'll switch to blue for my answer, I would have to isolate y, okay? So I'm going to isolate y to put it into y equals mx plus b so that I can figure out the slope of this line. Okay, so I'm going to divide everything by -2. And we've got y equals 3/2x minus 5. Now, I have another video on y equals mx plus b. This is what I'm using right now to figure out the slope. Okay, so the slope equals 3/2 in the line they gave us. But the line we're looking for is perpendicular to this line. So the perpendicular m would be equal to, change the sign and flip it. So that's the slope that I need. We were also given a point that's on the line. I have the point and the slope. I'm going to use the point slope formula. Point slope formula, again, if you've forgotten, you can go check out a video on Sean Walia Math. And away we go. Y minus 5 is equivalent to -2/3, open bracket, x plus 2. From there, you may be required to isolate y. I'll do that for you guys. We're going to times everything by 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to times that. We'll get 3y minus 15 is equivalent to -6/3 times x plus 2. Losing my voice here. Okay, that's going to be 3y minus 15 is equal to -2x plus 2. Distribute that -2. -2x minus 4. Bring that 15 over to the other side by adding 15 to both sides. Yeah, and we're going to get -2x. 15 minus 4 is plus 11. And the last step, divide everything by 3. Now, I'm just doing this to show you guys because sometimes teachers require that, that you isolate y, and I apologize, it's kind of crunched in the bottom there. But that would be the equation of the line in y equals mx plus b. This would have been the equation of the line right here, okay, and that would have been a satisfactory answer. But if I specify that I want it in y equals mx plus b, then you've got to go all the way and isolate y, okay? So I hope you've enjoyed my explanation of the slopes of parallel and perpendicular lines. Feel free to subscribe, or if you like this video, hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. And I'm really appreciative that, that you're learning from my channel, and wishing you all the best and have a great day, okay? Take care.